buy from you if they believe in your store. Okay, so how do you get millennials to believe in your store? Well, the answer is kind of simple. You have to save something. The planet, the whales, the ocean, the trees. Save something. Okay? Show some level of sustainability in your business so that you believe in that and get them to believe in that, and you are going forward. Oh, well, you know, we give 10% of everything that we sell to the rainforest. Then you get to say, I represent this brand in my store because they give 10% of everything they do to the rainforest. So it isn't like you have to make some kind of crazy donation. It isn't like you have to set up some kind of like, you know, a sustainability farm in your backyard. Okay? You don't have to work that hard. You can actually leverage what your vendors are telling you. Okay? But to the degree that you demonstrate that you care about this planet, that you want to be here, to the degree that you demonstrate to the millennial audience that it's not just about dollars and cents, is to the degree that they will be loyal to you and come to your store. Okay? It's a very simple but very effective strategy. And it just means that, you know, once a month, twice a month, you do that. You talk about that with your customers. You post it on social media. Okay? All right, let's talk about video. So the #1 search engine on the planet is... See, I set you all up for that one. It was a fill in the blank answer. You all looked at me blankly. Okay, so #1 search engine on planet Earth. What is it? Google. What's the #2?
YouTube.
YouTube is the #2 search engine on the planet. Okay? That gives you a sense of how important video is. So we tell all of our stores to get involved in doing videos for their store. And as soon as I say that, some of them get the impression that, oh my God, I now have to hire Spielberg, and there's got to be like a fade in and music and a thing, and you know, there's got to be a score and special effects, and I have to have Iron Man in there somewhere. Okay? None of that's really true, okay? The more raw it is, the better. Have you noticed in your stores, by the way, you get a box of merchandise and you take it out to the floor, you open up the box and you start to hang that stuff, and how the customers in the store at that moment surround that box like vultures? Have you noticed that, right? What's that? What's that? Okay? If you took a video of that and put it on YouTube, your customers would adore it. They would love it. Your video just needs to be simple. It needs to tell the story about you and your store and why, and tie back to all that kind of stuff. But it just needs to be, you can take a simple video of you at a booth here saying, I'm at this booth, look what I'm buying. Are you guys excited? Okay, it's simple. By the way, that kind of video is telling that we're talking about that happens in Instagram and stuff like that. Instagram has become a real sales channel. If you guys aren't doing that already, I recommend it. One of my customers tells me that 8% of her sales come from Instagram. Pretty wild. It's getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so take a lot of videos. Every one of our phones now is a movie camera, and better than most cameras that were produced for years, right? And they fight over that now, the camera manufacturers, right? It's a big Android, iPhone battle, right? Who has the better camera? Isn't that as much of a debate nowadays as Republican versus Democrat, iPhone versus Android? Have you noticed that, right? I have an iPhone, really? Because I have a Samsung. There's a lot of that battling going on unnecessarily. Okay, your staff also needs to know the story, okay? You can't craft an amazing story about what you're doing in the store, why you're there, who's doing what, etc. You can't do all of that and then have your staff just go, I don't know, just here. Right? They have to know the story. They don't necessarily have to be able to recite it word for word. I wouldn't suggest that, but they have to understand it, and they have to be able to show examples of it. Okay? So like, Shop Common Threads is all about stores for moms, okay? All the people in that store have a handful of carpool jokes. Right? Because they know that's the audience. Okay. Signage is also an important thing in the store, by the way. It's another thing that NRF researches about the millennials, is that, you know, because they supposedly, you know, there's all this talk about how millennials don't want to be talked to, which is sort of not true. But they do like to research things before they get to your store, right? They'll look up brands, they'll look up styles, that kind of stuff. And they like signage before they want you to approach them. So signage that supports your message, that supports what you're doing is important, okay? I think also find ways to adapt your message or show the applicability of your message to things that are currently happening. Okay? Here's this is a women's soccer team. right? And they were like all the rage for a while, right? A lot of our stores use things like scores from the games to promote what they were doing. This is actually one of my customers directly, and they are in Minnesota. And you know, in January and February of this year, it was 40 degrees below zero there without the wind chill. 40 degrees below zero without the wind chill factor. Negative 57? Let me ask you a question. There are no gates around your city, right? You can move anytime, right? Like, why would you stay where it's negative 57? People were like on the news. We're talking about how you will die if you go outside today, right? There was that kind of announcement. It's over. If you go outside today, you will be dead and buried right where you stand, right? It was like that kind of an announcement, right? So my store did this thing, which whatever number of degrees it was below zero, that was the discount you got when you got to the store. So when they were 40 below, they gave 40 off. They might as well, there was nobody there anyway. At least we'll turn something into cash at that moment in time, right? So things that you can do like that that are creative, that have to do with things that are happening right now, you know. We could have done like a grasshopper sale here in Vegas. That could have happened, so that's all okay, all right? So, all right. I also tell people to encourage reviews of their stores. And by the way, a bad review is a good thing. If you had nothing but good reviews, people don't believe that they're real, right? So it's okay if you have a bad review. And by the way, every once in a while you get one of those, don't you? Somebody who has nothing to do and 70 paragraphs to talk about everything you've done wrong since birth, right? All the way through. I went to the store, and by the way, it was 5 degrees different than what it should have been, and I got this, they write, okay? All you have to do is acknowledge that. We're really sorry you had a rough time in the store. We'd like to make it right, come back in, and everybody goes, okay, this is a human now. This is a real thing, okay? All right, I think also you use your message to cross-sell and to upsell. Okay? Everything you do has to add to that message and add to what they're talking about there. Okay? So, things I want to talk about messaging before I leave that are, and some lingering thoughts here, really take some time to think about what your story is and formulate it well and reduce the sentences down to a very easily digestible thing. Okay? What is that story? What is that story? Okay? So, listen, I'm glad you guys took pictures of this slide, but remember, you go to m1talks.com and you get it with all the others for free. We don't even charge you. You get all those extra slides for nothing. Anyway, so you want to make sure you formulate this well. The right message is a differentiator between you and everybody else in your neighborhood. Okay? And I'm a big believer in this. All marketing needs to be constant and consistent. Constant and consistent. Constant means I didn't just do one email blast in January and then I didn't do anything for 3 months after that. Okay? Constantly sending the message out, expecting it to be there. Consistency of the message. Okay? It's not one thing one day and another thing another day. Okay? That doesn't mean you can every once in a while throw in a random funny thing. You can once in a while tell a joke in your messaging, right? People expect that kind of thing, but you got to be constantly delivering it and consistent with what your base message is. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about once we actually get them there. Once we actually get them across the threshold. Once they actually arrive in the store. Okay? So customers now want speed. They want transactions to be seamless, and they don't want a lot of problems. Okay? People will not wait around if your person on the floor cannot operate the point of sale system and is trying to figure out how do I select cash, right? They want it to happen fast. And they also want them to be able to see anything and everything there is about you, okay? We'll get to that in a minute, okay? But they want a frictionless transaction, okay? Hassle-free return policies. In a presentation that happened this morning at 11:30, Paul Erickson talked about a client of ours that has been open for 18 years, and she made an announcement that whatever you've ever bought from me, you can return in the 18 years. And the rest of the world went, is she crazy? Like they were gonna send, people to come and take her away after that, right? But in actual fact, what happened was she gave them a 20% voucher off on anything they bought from all those years ago, and she did a ton of business. It was crazy. Okay? So the days of like, you know, you can return this within 16 minutes for half the store credit are over, right? They need to be frictionless, they need to be a little bit more shopper friendly, okay? And they want you to ship goods where they are. Okay? I think you want to personalize the experience. You want to make sure that you know them, that you're making a connection with them, that you are with them. Okay? So you can see that your point of sale has lots and lots of opportunities for you to identify someone, know who it is, okay, and identify them, know what their purchases are, that kind of thing. If your point of sale system doesn't do that, then you're probably not the right point of sale system. Okay, so they want to feel special. I want to talk about this one for a minute because it is the core of what I think retail is all about, and it's the core of what you have to focus on here as buyers, and it is the core of your survival as a retailer, okay? Because even if you do all the engagement things I've talked about, even if you have a message that resonates in your marketplace and they line up for forever, if you have the wrong inventory at the wrong time at the store, it doesn't matter. I have a client, actually one of my clients was a mall in Southern California, and they had an event, and the event was original John Lennon artwork. It was going to be at the mall. Original John Lennon artwork. They made the deal with Yoko, got everything there. If John doodled on a cocktail napkin, it was there, okay? All this amazing original John Lennon artwork at the mall. 1,000 people descended on that mall, and they bought nothing. Because the stores weren't relevant, nobody cared. So think about this for a minute. If you had that level of marketing, brought all those people to your store, 1,000 people walk in, the inventory isn't right, imagine the level of marketing it would take to get them back again. So having the right inventory at the right time, at the right place is everything. So you want to make sure you have fresh inventory all the time. Something new, something exciting, something interesting. Okay? Think what you like about stores like Forever 21. A girl that goes to Forever 21 today knows if I pick up a blouse today, and if I don't buy it today, I'm probably not getting it tomorrow. Out, gone, on to the next thing, okay? Something new is always exciting. It has been a driver for retail since Joseph H. Sears stood over a barrelhead in the marketplace 1,000 years ago, okay? I mean, it's a thing, okay? There's also this scarcity principle, right? Which is that this is it, and it's gonna be gone. And you have this chance to get it, or it's not gonna be around. So the days of you buying stuff, you know, deep and piling it high and having it for forever are ineffective. Okay? Really what has to happen is you have to have something, it has to be gone, you have to be on to the next thing. And your merchandise planning and your open to buy needs to reflect that. And if it doesn't, we should talk more about it. Okay? The days of just slamming stuff up there are kind of over. Okay. Give them a share-worthy experience. Look at that picture. That's an actual display at a Converse store. Pretty wild, right? How many people do you think took selfies in front of the big skeleton? How many people do you think tried to crawl into the mouth of the big skeleton? Right? I know I would. That's a share-worthy experience. That's going to be a picture that's going to be shared on 1,000 people's Facebooks and Instagrams. They're going to get a lot of free publicity based on that picture alone. Okay? Here's another one from a bookstore with the whole Where's Waldo thing going on there, right? These are interesting, share-worthy, picture-worthy experiences that also help share your, the passion that your store has and what your store is about and why your store is fun. Okay? So I'm going to quickly zoom through. How am I doing time-wise? Oh, I'm really good. Okay, so I'm going to zoom through now how I think you should approach the customer. It's a little thing we came up with a while ago. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does actually work. It's pretty effective. And here's what I can tell you. When I finish it, when I'm done telling you this thing, you are going to go, oh my God, that is the lamest thing I have ever experienced in my entire life. I promise you, when I finish this, you will go, oh my God, this is so lame, I can't believe I sat through this. Okay, you ready for that? All right, so we're going to start with the greeting. How do you greet people at the store? It's kind of everything. It's the beginning of the conversation, and I think it's important. And if you really want to have an interesting and fun exercise, walk into any mall in America and go into 10 stores and watch how they greet you. If they greet you, because sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes, how's it going? How's it going? Okay, that's not a greeting, right? That's sort of everything. My least favorite of all the greetings, by the way, is, hi, welcome to the store. These are 3 for 10, right? It's almost like, hi, welcome to the store. These are all the mistakes I've made. I'd like you to see them first. I'd like to make sure you see everything I did wrong before I show you the fantastic full price merchandise I'd rather you bought, right? Or do you know this one too, when people are in the store and someone walks up and goes, are you doing okay? Don't you love that one? Are you doing okay? What, is it painful to be in the store? Is it 1,000 degrees in there? Do you need a towel? How you greet them is everything, and I think the more interesting your greeting is, I think the more unique your greeting is, the more weird your greeting is, the more it pops them out of their cell phone addled world, the better, right? How many people walk into your store, how's it going? Right? They're barely there. Anything that you can do that gets them out of that world and alive and in your store and present is better. You follow that with some open-ended questions. Anything you ask that has a yes or no answer is going to get you dismissed. Can I help you? No. Are you finding everything okay? Yes. Is there something I can? No. Okay? The more open-ended, the more questions you ask that don't have a yes or no answer, the better. Okay? The greeting and the open-ended questions should lead you to tell them to try this on. I used to work with a guy, he had a great women's store, and he used to tell me, if I can get them naked, I can sell them. It was a joke. I'm going to be arrested right after this presentation. But no, his whole point was, once they were in the dressing room, and once they were there and trying stuff on, now they get to throw extra items into the dressing room under the door, right? Try this, try this, try this. By the way, interesting statistic, okay? Also from the NRF. Do you know what the #1 reason is why people did not buy at a boutique? The #1 reason. What do you think? Yell it out. #1 reason why people did not buy at a boutique.
They're not friendly.
Sorry?
They're not friendly.
Not friendly? Okay, what else?
Oh,
you have to yell loud because I'm old.
Extra items they didn't try.
One more time. They didn't try things on, okay? Here it is, ready? The #1 reason why people did not buy at a boutique: abandonment at the dressing room. The #1 reason: abandonment at the dressing room. How crazy is that, right? I got him in there, I got him trying stuff on, and then I went to do something else. Talk to somebody else, and I left them over there. So she wanted another size, I was nowhere to be found. She wanted to try something else, I was nowhere to be found. She wanted to see what I thought about how she looked at it, I was nowhere to be found. The #1 reason why people don't buy in a boutique, not according to me, according to the National Retail Federation, based on a survey of 10,000 retailers. Actually 10,000 customers that shop at boutiques, I'm sorry. Okay? How about that? That's kind of an important thing to think about. Okay, all right, so after that, add on at the register. Now, we didn't invent that, right? Every time you go to the supermarket, there's 10 million pounds of candy there for you to choose from, right? Because you spend 2 hours looking at food, you're a little hungry by the time you get to the register, typically. Sort of, right? So what can we add on at the register? And by the way, it's just something you have to talk about, right? You don't have to twist their arm into it. By the way, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see this? Did you see that? Okay? And lastly, one of the ones that I think is most important is to make it memorable. The mistake that most people make is I hand you the bag when it's all said and done. I go, here you go, thanks for shopping, and now I'm off on to my next adventure. Okay? Do something at that moment in time to make that meaningful to someone. I really enjoyed working with you today. I'm here Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. My name is Dan. Come and see me. Okay? Do something to create a relationship with those people. Get their email address. Okay? By the way you get someone's email address is not to go, can I have your email address? Because the answer then is no. It's a little bit like saying, if I have extra garbage, can I dump it on your front lawn? Is that okay? Can I do that? Okay? By the way, I'm a big fan of this. Instead of calling it an email list, I like calling it a VIP list. Because nobody wants to be on an email list, but everybody wants to be on the VIP list. Right? You know, you made some great purchases today, and you're a little bit below the level of where we would want a VIP to be, but I know the owner, I can get you in. Okay? If they think they're going to get discounts, if they're going to know stuff before anybody else, if they think they're going to be treated specially, you know what? They'll give you their dental charts if they have to. Okay? It's how you ask the question that matters. If you ask the question not expecting to get their email address, you don't want to give me your email address, do you? That's not a thing, right? You're not going to give that to me, right? Okay? If you do it that way, you lose. I was actually asked to secret shop at a surf shop in Southern California. Now, many of you will look at me and think, well, I can see why. That guy looks like he surfs every single day. But I don't. But I was asked to secret shop it, and you know, listen, the guy who came up to me at that store, right, came up to me and he was like, so, you need help finding anything? Literally didn't look at me, by the way, he looked above me. It was a very odd thing. He looked literally over my head. I don't know, was there something there? I don't know, but he looked over my head. And I was like, nah, I'm just looking, right? Okay, thanks. And he was calm, right? And then he went back to the register, and I didn't hear the conversation, but I'm pretty sure the conversation with the store manager went, I asked him, he said no. Right? He did nothing to engage me. Yeah, I don't look like I surf every day, but what if I have 3 kids that do? What if my son is having a birthday party for 15 surfers and I'm looking for gifts? All of that is stuff that they're gonna miss. Okay? So doing something to engage with them, to make it memorable, to make it real, is kind of everything in this example. Okay, all right, now, I promised you at the beginning of this little section that at the end of it, it's going to get lame, and this is the moment where it turns lame. You ready? You guys all excited about the lameness? Because it's going to happen right now. Here's the lameness. If you take all the things we just talked about, the greeting, the open-ended questions, the try this on, extra items, add on at the register and make it memorable, and you take the first letter, it's go team! Yeah, that's pretty lame, huh? I promise you, it's lame. But here's the thing about it, okay? First off, it's so lame, it may never get out of your head now. Right? Here's the other thing that's good about it, okay? If I'm a store manager, and I want to talk to my salespeople about their selling, I feel like they're not doing a good enough job, right? Have you done this one? I need to talk to you about your selling. It's almost like saying, listen, I'd like to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour wherein you give me every excuse you can think of why people don't buy. Okay? But if I use Go Team, and I'm coaching someone, and I go, you know what? Not enough O in what you're doing, not enough O. They go, oh, open-ended questions. Oh, okay, let me think about that, okay? So this is a good way as store managers to coach them. But even more important than that is that selling is not this mystical, magical, like some days I have it and some days I don't kind of thing. Right? It is not a metaphysical, weird thing. It is a technique like anything else. And if you talk about anybody else in any other profession, golf, ballet, accounting, whatever you want to talk about, okay? They all have things, steps that they do that make something work, okay? So I have stores that drill this in the mornings once a week and play with this idea so that if I feel like, God, I'm not making a connection with anyone right now, let me think, am I greeting them well? Yeah, my greetings are okay. Oh, I'm not asking enough open-ended questions. And therefore, I'm not getting everybody to try anything on. So there's no extra items in the dressing room. In fact, there is no dressing room. There's no add on at the register, and the only memorable thing was them leaving. Right? The more that I can actually follow at least some kind of script and teach, you know, here's the other thing. I find most retailers do not teach selling. They teach them something about the product, they put them on the floor, and that's it. Teach them a basic framework of how to approach the customer.